Irashaimase! Hello and welcome to Fitaurus Kitchen. I'm your host, Chef Fitaurus. It's time once again for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and on the menu this Saturday we have Talespin, Capcom's 1991 classic, brought to us by the Disney Afternoon Collection. What kind of taste will it have? Let's get cooking and find out. As we start the game, we're giving these introductory cutscenes where we have some characters from the cartoon, Rebecca and Molly, waking up Baloo. Wake up, Baloo! We've got lots of work today. I've lined up 8 assignments already, so get out of your hammock and shake a leg. And by the way, Baloo, Don Carnage and the pirates are intercepting cargo planes, so do me a favor, be careful. Here's your first assignment. Fly over the sea and you should find your destination. But watch out for Don Carnage. He may be waiting for you. If you happen to find more cargo, pick it up and deliver it. And thus we begin our journey as Baloo flying the Mini Sea Duck. So what kind of abilities do we have in the Mini Sea Duck? We've got 2 primary things we can do. Of course we can steer around, but we also have the ability to shoot, though there are some issues with that. And we also have the ability to flip around and fly the opposite direction. And this actually changes the scroll of the game in horizontal sections. So instead of scrolling left to right, we're suddenly scrolling right to left. Something that is kind of novel for the time, and really you don't see in a lot of titles even today. But we cannot change the direction that we scroll if we're going in a vertical section. So we just encountered Don Carnage for the first time. He fires a couple shots and then just runs away. Just leaving everything else to the rest of his air pirates. So in addition to being able to fly and shoot, we can take multiple hits. We have hearts up in the top left that indicate the damage we can take. So with 3 hearts we can take 2 hits without dying. The 3rd hit will kill us. We can jump into the start screen, which shows us our points, as well as how many load, which is cargo boxes we've picked up, and money bags, and then our total remaining lives. So, I mentioned that the shots had a problem. That problem is we can only have, initially, 1 bullet on screen at a time. So, if you happen to miss your shot, like these enemies here, these enemies home directly at us. So if we happen to fire a shot and miss, we have to wait for that shot to exit the screen before we can fire again, and likely we'll take damage in the meantime. It's a big problem, and something that especially in the first stage can be very, very frustrating. Here I'm using the flip of the ship to control the scroll so we can pick up these extra cargo boxes as well as money bags. Continuing onward, we still have more of these annoying enemies and cargo to pick up. And with that last homing enemy out of the way, we find ourselves at the boss stage. Here the boss is just a submarine that fires shots of 2 types. Missiles that fly up to our level and home in on us, or shots that fire 4 going up at diagonals and 1 along the surface of the ocean. Enough shots and the boss goes down. But there is a problem. There's no way to tell how much damage you've done to the enemy, so unless you know the exact number of shots and have been counting, it's impossible to tell how far through the boss fight you are, and that becomes a little bit of an issue later. Between stages, we do have this upgrade stage where Wildcat, the mechanic from the show, will upgrade our Mini Sea Duck. Hi there, ready for takeoff? Get me the parts and we'll get the Sea Duck off the ground. So we can upgrade the engine, which makes our ship faster. We can upgrade the body, which gives us another heart of damage we can take. We can get an extra life, or there's also the shots for rapid fire and super rapid shot. So rapid shot allows us to have 2 bullets on the screen at once, and the super rapid shot allows us to have 4. Whoa, amazing, right? No, seriously though, these are upgrades that you need to have if you want to enjoy the game. Otherwise, it's just too frustrating. So first off the bat, we must pick up the rapid shot. and when we have the money for it, the super rapid shot is definitely next on the list. The engine speed is nice, but between the two, it's better to save up for the rapid fire. Your next destination is the baseball stadium. Watch out for anti-aircraft fire and lay off the hot dogs. What baseball stadium on planet Earth has anti-aircraft fire that would target a cargo plane? Anyway, setting the setting aside, here we go. So, we're no longer as weak as we were in the first stage, with the simply increasing our ability to have multiple shots on screen at once makes our survivability so much better. But that by no means makes this a cakewalk. I've already taken some more damage than I would like. So, at this point, I might have to rely on one of the features that we have in the Disney Afternoon Collection. So, to make these games more playable in the modern era, they added a rewind feature, where if we happen to take damage or we want to redo a section, we just need to rewind, and it'll rewind at a set pace back a certain way, so that rather the distance that we choose to go back, so we can correct our mistakes. Really, these games were very much trial and error back in the day, so what that allows us to do is to fast forward that step, as it were, by going backwards. So here's a rather tricky section of this particular stage. Given the speed of the ship, if we're actually scrolled off of the screen, we'll take damage and die. So we have to be very careful to not allow that to happen. You can change that by, of course, flipping the direction you're flying and thus changing the scroll back the other direction. Do keep in mind, though, that once the screen begins to scroll vertically, we don't have the option to change which way we're scrolling. We'll pop into the bonus stage real quick. In the bonus stages in Talespin, you fly around as Kit Cloud Kicker, popping these balloons and collecting the items contained within. We have 30 seconds to enjoy the relative calm of these bonus stages before we're back on the main game itself. However, if you happen to pop all the balloons on a certain stage and are just waiting at the end, you might be waiting for a few seconds before the game actually goes back to blue. Back at the wonderfully deadly stadium, we pop back up to find that it's now night. One thing I do like about this stage, when we approach the scoreboard again, it'll have changed from earlier on in the stage itself. So rather than the score being 0-0, which is what it was when we first encountered the stadium, it now shows that one of the teams has a distinct advantage over the other. Making liberal use of the rewind function just to get through. Yay, some life. See? The score is updated. And that's just that is a fun little detail that I like, given that I feel, for the most part, the stages are actually relatively plain in Talespin. Fighting our second boss, the anti-aircraft baseball. A baseball that bounces around, flies up, and fires a three-way shot. Job well done. We get our pay for our load bonus, the load we picked up, as well as the bag. No perfect bonus, though. Unfortunately, we don't have enough to really pick up any of the upgrades that would be worth it, so here we just have to press start and move on. That fiend, Don Carnage, has laid mines in the clouds, so be careful. Here we find ourselves in a cloud stage. So, overall thoughts on Talespin? While I love a lot of Capcom's titles from this era, this is not one of them. I was a huge fan of DuckTales growing up. but this was one that I'd never played. Even though I'm a big fan of the cartoon itself, Talespin, I really can't get behind this title itself. It's just frustrating in too many ways. The way that you're limited in shots on screen, especially in the first stage, just makes the game frustrating to play, especially on a starting stage. And without the rewind feature that we have on this particular version, the Disney Afternoon Collection, I almost feel like the game itself would be unplayable in most people's opinions. I do like the tie-in that it has with the cartoon. Like I said, there's a lot of nostalgia there for me, but the boss fights, the one in particular that we're coming up to, I just find so frustrating. This one, you have RNG, whether these twins come down separately and fire three-way shots at you, or if they come down together and fire one shot that bursts into a four-way. You can only damage them when they're connected, though. So if you get bad RNG, you might just be left with a frustrating fight trying to dodge shots. We're actually getting a really good pattern here, but it doesn't always happen like that. The slow movement of the ship, especially before you upgrade your engine, can also be a problem as well. And like I said, that issue with the shots just makes initially playing the title so frustrating. So as much as I wanted to like and enjoy Talespin for the NES, I just can't. It's one of those titles that, like, as much nostalgia as there might be there for the property, it's just not really worth taking the time to pick up and play the title itself. If you pick up the Disney Afternoon Collection, then it might be worth a playthrough, but it's definitely not a gem among the titles that are there. Alright, well, there we have it. The Talespin from the Disney Afternoon Collection served up for your enjoyment. As always, I want to thank you so much for coming out and joining me today for Shoot 'em Up Saturday, and I look forward to seeing you again next week.